good afternoon, everyone, ladies and gentlemen, boys and girls. Kamusta po kayong lahat on a beautiful Saturday afternoon? We are happy that you're joining us ngayong hapon na to as we welcome everybody to another episode of the Chasedown. Ako po si Riza Diaz. Thank you for joining us. And joining us are our ka-chasers. Isa-isa ko nang ipapakilala sa inyo. Unahin ko muna sa pinaka-pogi.
Sino kaya yan?
Uy!
Sino kaya?
Pinaka-pogi. Aba, syempre walang iba kung hindi si Abak Cordero. Hollywood star and peg. Hi, Abak. How are you?
Padala mo yung address mo, ha? Okay lang. Ito, masaya tayo dahil we are back on a weekly format, ano? According to my... Grabe kasi ang clamor. Grabe ang clamor ng mga pamilya natin. Ibalik tayo.
Saka tayo.
Tayo. Parang ang dami nung pumirma eh. Parang umabot din ng mga 20. Kaya binalik tayo. So, salamat. At dyan lang kayo, 2 to 4 to. Stand by and watch Chasedown.
Ayan, ang dami kasi rin nating pwedeng pagkwentuhan, kaya mas maganda na every week nakakapagkita-kita tayo. Kahit nga ngayon virtual lang, as of the moment we're back on Zoom kasi nga tumataas pa rin yung cases, which of course will be something that we hope na bumaba in the next coming weeks. So ito namang susunod kong ipapakilala, equally as pogi. Pero ito, ibang klase yung charm niya. Kasi may swag tong kakaiba. Waylon Galvez is joining us on the show. Hi, Waylon.
Iba yun, ha?
Hi, Riz. Grabe naman sa swag na yan. Ano ba Gcash mo, Riz, ha?
Swab ba o swag?
Swab. Anyway, tama si Abak. We're back on a weekly basis. Bakit kanyo? Kasi naman din, ang dami rin naman nangyayari sa mundo ng sports. Maski na virtual tayo, online tayo, bahala ang chase down sa inyo. Kaming mga ka-chasers ang bahala sa inyo. Para ibigay sa inyo yung mga nangyayari. Actually, talagang madami. Kaya isa yan sa rason. Kaya, balik tayo linggo-linggo dito sa The Chasedown. Ngayong araw, naku, siksik, hitik ang aming mga balita sa inyo. Kaya tuto kayo, 2 oras. Dito lang tayo sa The Chasedown. Please.
Right. At makakasama natin for the next 2 hours also is one of my favorite people in the whole world. Kung si Abak pinaka-pogi at pinaka-swagger naman yung dating ni Waylon Galvez. Ito naman, isa sa masasabi kong beautiful person in and out. Jerry Ramos is joining us on the show. Hi, Jerry!
Liz, mukhang matindi pangangailangan mo, ha? Ang gaganda ng introduction mo sa amin, eh. Baka ako pinagdadaanan ka. Anyway, good afternoon mga ka-chasers, sa lahat ng naka-antabay at nakasubaybay sa atin ngayon. Dahil 16 days to go na lang at matatapos na naman ang buwan ng Enero.
Ala ko kung ano.
Ganun kabilis, no? Pero mo, 2022 lang, tapos 16 days from now, tapos na naman ang isang buwan. Yan. Ganun kabilis ang panahon, kaya kailangan paspasan din nga atin ngayong hapon ang ating pagbabalita at mga tsikahan siyempre sa mundo ng palakasan. Kaya sit back, relax, and fasten your seatbelt. Kailangan nakapasen talaga dahil medyo mataas ang mga cases ng COVID-19 ngayon. Kaya, sabi nga nila, ingat. Riza?
Totoo yan, Jerry. On a very serious note, napakabilis nga nung transmission nitong Omicron variant. In fact, the DOH is saying this could be the dominant variant now in our country. Kaya patuloy po ang paalala natin sa ating mga ka-chasers to stay safe. Kung hindi po natin kinakailangang lumabas ng bahay, maybe we could just stay at home and practice, of course, social distancing. Always practice itong mga health protocols tulad na lang ng frequent hand washing, wearing your masks properly, and of course, taking care of our immune system by drinking vitamins, at syempre, resting or sleeping right. Yan ang mga talagang panangga natin dito nga sa virus na to. Pero ngayong hapon na to, isa pa sa mabilis, syempre ang ating mga balitang sports. Kaya simulan na natin ang pagbibigay sa kanila ng ating headlines. Waylon, simulan mo na sa ating may init na headlines.
Siyempre, ito, kailan lang sa NBA. Nako, idol natin to, Klay Thompson, nagbalik na. Halos 2 years yata yan nawala eh. Kaya nako, mamaya, babanggitin natin yan.
Ej Obiena, update sa injury and recovery. Mamaya yan.
Ito, PBA 3x3 postponed tentatively. Mamaya rin yan.
Nako, ganun din, itong Japan B-League All-Star Game. Aba, canceled na daw. Sayang, ang dami pa namang Pilipinong kasali dyan sana.
Sayang. At eto, sa NBA pa din, Memphis Grizzlies, 11 straight. Nako! Laglag kanina yan. Mamaya.
And speaking of maya po makakasama po natin ang ating mga bisita. Una will be joined by one of the former courtside reporters of the UAAP. She reported for the De La Salle Green Archers, yung mga fans ni George Rocha. She will be joining us in a very short while. Siyempre pagkukwentuhan natin her UAAP experience, and also very timely kasi malapit na nga magsimula ang UAAP season, and with that, naghahanap ng mga bagong reporters. So yan ang ating pagkakwentuhang unang-una. And then also we'll be joined by another beautiful lady, Dzi Gervacio is joining us on the show later on today. Usapang volleyball tayo, napakaraming balita sa mundo ng volleyball. And of course, wrapping up our guest would be one of our favorites also, Kevin Alas of the NLEX Road Warriors will be joining us on the show. Pag-uusapan naman natin kay Kevin yung free agency, that rule that the PBA has adjusted when it comes to the free agency. Dahil, if I'm not mistaken, he's one of those players, he's not a free agent, may kontrata siya sa NLEX, but we'll see his opinion about it dahil alam natin na dahil na-draft siya back in 2014, pwede niya na kumbaga ma-avail itong bagong naging adjustment ng PBA when it comes to free agency. Yan at marami pang iba. But let's first talk about one of the highlights of the previous week. And I say, nakaabang kami ni Nicolas on our phones watching this game. Kasi talaga namang di ba, exciting talaga na makita siya back on the court. And I honestly felt teary-eyed. Siguro emotional lang ako. I was so happy for him. Klay Thompson is back, right, Waylon?
Yes, Risa, and mga ka-chasers, nako, kung sino man yung talagang nag-abang for 2.5 years or 941 days to be exact. Ganun katagal na wala si idol natin, Klay Thompson. Ako hindi ako Golden State Warrior fan pero dahil napakagaling nung Splash Brothers na yan, Steph Curry and Klay Thompson, talagang inabangan natin yung pagbabalik ni Klay Thompson. Alam naman natin, during Game 6 of the 2019 finals against the Toronto Raptors, last game ni Klay was June 13, 2019, na-injury siya. Kung matatandaan nyo, he went for a dunk or was it a layup? Kaso, dunk no? Kaso na-foul siya ni Danny Green. Medyo masama yung awkward landing na sinasabi. Nagkaroon siya ng ACL sa kanyang left knee. Talagang masama yung bagsak. So the whole season ng 2020, wala siya. Ngayon, nung babalik na siya sana, the previous season, na-injury naman. Nagkaroon naman siya ng Achilles tendon right leg injury. Talagang yung pinagdaanan nito, kung kayo mga ka-chasers, pinafollow nyo yung progress ni Klay Thompson sa social media or sa mga NBA features, articles, talagang makikita nyo si Klay na talagang gustong-gusto nang makabalik. And that happened nung early this week when Klay Thompson finally suited up and final played. Naku, mga ka-chasers, nakita nyo ba yung introduction nila? Siya ang huling pinakilala, di ba? Talagang maano ka tama si Risa kanina teary-eyed ba or goosebumps kasi talagang excited lahat, di ba? Nung pinakilala si Klay Thompson maski si Klay, inaamin naman niya na kabado, pero excited, di ba? Pero talagang it was all worth it, yung pinagdaanan niyang rehabilitation He finished with 17 points on 7 of 18 field goals. He had 3 of 8 3-pointers, a block in 20 minutes of play as Golden State defeated Cleveland 96-82. Ako, mga ka-chasers, isa siguro sa paborito kong moment nung pagbabalik ni Klay na yun, bukod doon sa introduction, was when he went up for a dunk against 2 defenders kasi diba, parang kung titignan nyo yung naging injuries niya, ACL, then yung isa pa sa tuhod niya, kumbaga parang kaya pa ba ni Klay yung dating Klay Thompson na game niya? But when he went up for that dunk nandun pa yung talon niya, yung siguro timing na lang ang kailangan, conditioning, nandun na lahat yan Pero ang maganda rito, although wala pa si Draymond Green yata sa Golden State ngayon naku, delikado yung mga nag-aasal na mag-champion dyan dahil kompleto na uli yung Big Three ng Golden State Warriors. I'm not, as I've said, I'm a big Celtics fan, pero I'm also voting for Golden State kasi, kita mo naman, New York yan, no? I'm also rooting for Golden State na sana makabalik sila sa championship dahil magagaling na players to, Steph Curry, Draymond Green, as well as Klay Thompson. Kayo, mga ka-chasers, naku, Risa, kwento mo kanina na si Nicolas ba naiyak nung bumalik si Klay? Tapos, I think, maski si Tabak at si Jerry, rin to, excited din sa pagbabalik ni Klay
Sobra. Si Nikki was glued on his phone kasi we were running errands that day. And talagang inabangan niya. And like what you said, Waylon, yung call out, talagang nakakapanindig balahibo. And you would really feel the love, from the Bay Area, from the Dub City, ang tawag nga nila, for Klay Thompson. Kasi alam naman natin yung nagawa niya for the Golden State Warriors. And though he was away for, 2 years and so, na alam din nila yung hirap na pinagdaanan ni Klay to rehabilitate and to be able to stay in shape. At evident yun sa nakita nating pagbabalik niya in that game against Cleveland. In fact, if I'm not mistaken, he also scored the first basket for the Warriors in that game. So tawan-tuwa kami nun kasi we were thinking, kami ni Nicolas, kami dalawa lang, nagpupustahan kami kung 3-point shot bang una niyang basket or lay up. But he went for that drive and and scored 2 points. So nevertheless, napaka-exciting na moment yon. Like what Waylon said, whether you are a Warriors fan or not, a sports fan in general, to see, the players come back from such horrible injuries is always very, very inspiring to watch. May mga kilala ba kayo, Abak and Jerry, since we're talking about Klay, yung mga ganyang klaseng ang tagal na wala, na-injure, pero pagbalik parang wala lang, yung parang hindi nagbago yung kondisyon. Kasi, alam mo, bilang atleta, I always speak to them, isa sa pinakamahirap yung to stay in game shape, especially if you're coming off an injury. Kevin Alas can tell us that later on. Pero may mga naiisip baka ngayon na athletes, whether basketball or kung anumang sport na, ang tagal na wala. Pero parang walang nangyari nung nagbalik, ganun pa rin kagaling, ganun pa rin kataas yung kondisyon. May mga athletes ba kayo on top of your mind right now? Jerry, Abak?
Ako si Robert Bolick na injured ng ACL yan. 3 years ago, but pagbalik niya actually parang mas deadlier pa siya ngayon, yung range niya pa, mas lalong lumayo eh. Parang Steph Curry and Klay Thompson na rin yung ginagawa niya sa half court na tumitira eh. So, ayun, ayan, Kevin Alas would also be one. Alam naman natin, double ACL yung na-injured kay Kevin in the past 3 years. But still, he's playing his best basketball right now. Isa pa si Poy Eram, 2 beses din na-ACL yan, di ba? Look at where he is now. He's finally a champion with TNT. So, mga ano rin yan, mga inspiring experiences as far as athletes are concerned. Kumbaga, yan yung magiging guide mo, no? Magiging inspiration mo. If ever mag-suffer ka ng ganyang, actually, career-threatening na yan eh, di ba? Nasa
Injuries,
ano rin siguro yun eh, no? Nasa spirit or the way the athlete would come back, no, or return from such harrowing experience.
Speaking of coming back and bouncing back from injuries, someone who we didn't even know. I personally didn't actually realize that he was going through something with the way again he's performed in the Olympics. Ej Obiena had a surgery recently and would like to get an update on that since pinag-uusapan natin itong mga injuries na to. Abak, can you lead us through the story about, of course, our pole vaulter, itong si Ej?
Yes, of course. Thank you. And before that, I want to, maybe we can attribute these stories on remarkable comebacks sa pagbabago na rin ng science in treating injuries and iba na ang treatment, iba na ang rehabilitation programs ngayon ng mga athletes going through injuries. If 20 years ago nag-ACL ka, should be the end of your career, ano? Pero ngayon talagang iba na ang mga exercises na pinapagawa sa kanila after a few months of the surgery, iba na. So talagang gumaganda na rin ang chances of recovering from such injuries. And one such a perfect example on our side is Ej Obiena, who recently underwent surgery, successful ang surgery. Ej himself brought out the news sa social media. No? Sabi niya, the surgery was successful. They have cleaned the meniscus and have removed the screw sa tuhod niya. Tinanggal ang screw.
Pinakita pa no?
Yes, he posted pictures of the screw. It's 1 inch. It's like parang screw ng engine support ng kotse. Ganun kalaki. Tinanggal sa tuhod niya. Can you imagine competing or even walking around with na may ganung tornilyo sa loob ng tuhod mo? But ngayon, tinanggal na yan and noong 2017 nilagay yon nung after an ACL reconstruction. Doon nilagay yung tornilyo sa kanyang tuhod. And now that the bone graft has healed successfully, sinabi ng mga doktor ni Ej na pwede na natin tanggalin yung tornilyo. And Ej is very confident and hopeful that he will be back in the swing of things. Actually, he's now preparing for a indoor meet in Germany on January 28. So in no time, Ej will be back on the field. Thank you po.
Wow. Alam mo, Abak, Jerry and Waylon, I just have to also commend the strength our athletes have. Hindi lang yung physical strength, but their mentality. Ibang klase talaga ang discipline at saka yung power of mind ng ating mga atleta. Just going back on Ej, going through this surgery, going through all that issues and the back and forth with Patafa, with that whole rift, 'di ba? Ngayon he's even preparing for another competition which will eventually lead him back to the Olympics come 2024. Imagine niyo tong laki ng responsibility na meron sila. Ibang klase ang ating mga atleta. But again, all our prayers for Ej Obiena. We're happy that he's getting better and things are looking better for him on both sides of both side of the perspective, whether on his personal matter katulad ng injury na kinakaharap niya, and again matters with Patafa. So thank you Abak for that update on Ej Obiena. Lipat tayo ngayon with basketball action naman. Jerry will tell us more about the 3-on-3 action here in the PBA. Last week, gines natin yung mga kauna-unahang champions. The App Masters were on the show with, of course, Coach Willie Wilson. But we heard, Jerry, that the second conference of the 3-on-3 is on hold. Nakapost, ano ba siya? Nakapost din, katulad ng 5-on-5?
Yes, Riz, dahil unfortunately, itong PBA 3x3 second conference, ang isa rin sa mga nasagasaan nung nag-stop yung action in the PBA Governor's Cup dahil nga sa tumataas na COVID cases dito sa bansa. And it was supposed to start yung second conference ng 3x3 last January 8. Pero nung natigil na nga yung action in the Governor's Cup, minabuti na rin ng PBA na pansamantala ring ihinto itong pagdadaos ng second conference ng 3x3. Medyo nakakalungkot dahil coming off from a very successful 6-leg tournament, and yun nga, cup ng isang grand finals where limited up masters won the 750,000 peso top prize money. Nahinto rin, naapektuhan rin yung pagdaraos ng second conference ng PBA 3x3. But nonetheless, sabi nga ni Commissioner Willie Marshall, once mag-start na uli ang mga games ng Governor's Cup, 2 weeks after, sisimulan na rin agad nila yung 3x3 tournament, second conference. With, hopefully, may 2 teams pa yatang gustong pumasok, but hindi natin alam kung isasama na sila dito sa darating na conference or sa mga darating pang conference. Liza?
All right. Well, we certainly hope that the cases would go down kasi yan lang din naman yung inaantay ng PBA para makapag-resume tayo sa mga games natin, and not until bumaba nga itong mga number of infections talagang napakahirap ituloy yung mga laro, especially of course when we put the safety of the players and staff and everyone from the PBA at risk kung gagawin natin yan. All right, we're going to take a quick break. When we come back, marami pa tayong sports kwentuhan. Plus, our guest will be joining us. Kaya wag po kayo maalis. Magbabalik po ang The Chasedown.
Chasedown.
Our hearts go out to the families affected by Typhoon Odette.
Hindi po biro ang naging hagupit ng bagyo sa ating mga kababayan.
All right, welcome back to the Chasedown. Again, thank you for joining us on this busy Saturday afternoon. Alam naman natin na kahit nga we are in alert level 3 here in NCR, patuloy pa rin yung mga sports balita, patuloy pa rin ang trabaho, patuloy pa rin ang ating mga pakikibaka sa araw-araw. And thank you for choosing to being with us in spite of your busy schedule. We are joined by our ka-chasers, Abak Cordero, Jerry Ramos, and Duelan Galvez. They're joining us. If you missed the first part of the program, naku sayang, napagkwentuhan na natin, ang dami na, from PBA 3-on-3 to Klay Thompson coming back in the NBA, pati na rin syempre update kay Ej Obiena. Pero, ang good news, marami pa tayong pagkakwentuhan. And speaking of kwentuhan, para mas masaya ang ating kwentuhan, let's bring in our first guest for this afternoon. And I have to say, it's been a while since I've seen her on TV, and it's so nice to have her back. She's one of, I have to say and admit also, when I was also wanting and dreaming to become a reporter for sports, isa to sa mga pinapanood ko. So now we are going to welcome her for the very first time dito sa The Chasedown, the very first reporter or the very first student reporter for De La Salle Green Archers in the UAAP. Let's bring in George Rocha. Chu!
Hi. Hi, good afternoon, everyone. Thank you so much for having me here on the Chasedown. Thank you for your kind words, Risa. Thank you so much.
Tama ba, George? I'm stalking you now on Instagram, and you have to, I have to say, tama no, George Rocha Chu now. You're married.
Yes,
with kids.
I've been married. Yes, married with kids. My surname is now Chu. So yeah, I've been married for 14 years. Yeah.
Wow. George, papakilala ko sa iyo yung mga batikan nating sports writers. Baka hindi ko sure kung nagko-cover sila ng UAAP around that time, but they've been covering also the UAAP, the NCAA and the PBA and other sports. We have Abak with us.
Hi.
Abak Cordero is with the Philippine Star.
Good afternoon.
We have Waylon Galvez.
Hi, hello,
Waylon,
George.
bati ka naman kay George.
Hi.
Naku, nakamute, napipe si Waylon sa kagandahan ni George. And of course, we have Jerry Ramos from Spin.
Hi,
George.
Jerry.
Hello, George.
Thank you so much for having me. It's so nice to meet you guys. I don't know if you guys were already, covering that time, but it was 22 years ago.
Wow.
Oo, parang walang nagbago. Unahin ko na, George, si Waylon sa pagtatanong. Kasi alam mo to, talagang fan din to when it comes to collegiate sports. Waylon, go ahead.
Ako, Riz, natandaan ko si George during nung nakaka-cover pa ako ng UAP at that time. And ikaw na rin nagsabi, Riz, at that time, hanggang ngayon syempre naman, kita naman natin, isa sa pinakamagandang courtside reporters.
Hindi.
Tama?
That sounds grabe naman. Thank you. Wow,
No,
nice to get
Anyway,
May singit ko na lang, Waylon. May singit ko na lang,
Hindi nga.
Yung mga George Rocha kasi, yung mga ganyang level, yan yung nag-set ng barometer for the UAAP courtside reporters na napakahirap i-penetrate. Oh my gosh. Kaya tama si Waylon in saying, and it's so evident until now na walang kupas ang kagandahan ni George.
Oh, that's so sweet. Thank you. Thank you so much.
Anyway, George, kwentuhan mo nga kami nung time na yon, being the first courtside reporter na from LaSalle na pumasok sa UAP. Kwentuhan mo kami at that time, paano ka napasok? May ano ka ba? Is it a passion for being part of the media, covering the games?
Yeah, well, at that time, I was in college. I was 18 years old. I was taking up communication arts in LaSalle, and I loved watching basketball. And I really was a huge fan of the UAAP and the PBA since I was a kid. And the NBA at the time was also very new, so I really enjoyed following that. Tapos, one day, may poster na lang sa college namin looking for sportscasters. And I thought, wow, this is a great opportunity. I think I better try it. Also, at the same time, parang required sa school namin to have practicum in a news institution or agency or something like that. So I thought, okay, sige, I'll try out. And I was called for an audition, several auditions, several screen. I forgot what it's called, screenings or screen tests. And yeah, I was so surprised that I got in. It was the first time, really. The concept was so new to have student reporters representing each university. And it was the first time for me. It was the first time for ABS to even have something like this. So it was scary, pero at the same time, ABS Sports really took care of us as student reporters, and they gave us a lot of leeway. They were very forgiving sa lahat ng mga bloopers namin on air, which was great. But at the same time, they also expected a certain level of, a certain performance from us, a certain standard, which I really appreciated, and it gave me a lot of training for my future work on TV.
Pagka naman ganyan ka kaganda, pagka nag-bloopers ka or nagkamali ka, hindi na halata yun. Tingnan mo naman si Risa Diaz, ha? Tingnan mo naman. Risa Diaz din lang eh. Pero anyway, George, di ba being part of the UAP at that time, as courtside reporter, as part of the media coverage, di ba dapat wala kang pinapanigan, wala kang kinakampihan. Pero how was it for you? Lalo na Ateneo LaSalle game. Paano mo na control yung excitement mo na wag mag-cheer for the Archers?
No, well, the beauty of being a student reporter and representing your school is you're told to root for your team, and I really was rooting for my team. I was only reporting for LaSalle, except a few times na pinapasok ako as replacement for, like, let's say UE or UST kung wala yung student reporter at the time, and then they needed me to jump in. Then there, medyo kailangan ko mag-control ng konti, because I remember there was one time, UST yung kalaban ng LaSalle, and I was reporting for USP, which was just one instance, and it was very nerve-wracking. But at the same time, syempre, out of respect to the team and out of respect to the crowd of UST, I don't show my excitement when LaSalle would score. But at that time, it was, the UAAP at the time was really very different. Lalo na Ateneo LaSalle game, sobrang exciting, and really the rivalry was so much alive na you can't help but root for your team. And everybody knew that, I was on LaSalle side, Pia or Patty was on the Ateneo side, and we all just really lived, and breathed the school spirit. So, okay lang. At the time, it was okay to root for the team. It was in the following leagues that I joined. Then you kind of have to, especially if I had my own favorite team in that particular league, let's say PBA or something, I can't be cheering for them. But in terms of controlling yourself, syempre, kailangan hindi masyadong excited, and and you don't also show it on TVs because you have to be very professional. You're not there as a fan. You're there as a reporter.
Mhm. Mhm. Anyway, George, mga ka-chasers natin, may mga iba pang tanong. Unahin ko na. Naku, crush ka daw nito eh.
Ila?
Jerry Ramos?
Crush agad? Grabe naman.
Grabe naman.
Hi, George.
Hi.
Ito, ano lang,
Uy.
out of the blue lang. Bakit George ang ano mo, naging name mo na medyo panglalaking ano, no? Although,
Okay.
ano naman yan, uso na eh, di ba? Dahil may mga babae nga ang pangalan, Alex or Joey, di ba? Ikaw, paano naging
Well,
George?
my full name is Georgina, so I was born with that name.
Mhm.
It's in my birth certificate. And then growing up, I just got known as George. People called me George for short, and it got stuck. And I liked it. I was kind of siguro between, kasi in our family we're all girls except for my dad, right? So I have two older sisters, and I was the youngest, and I wanted to kind of be the tomboy of the family, kind of watching basketball games with my dad, or following tennis with my dad, para may kasama siya and stuff. So I kind of just accepted that people called me a boy's name, and it's kind of becoming a little bit gender neutral already anyway. So okay naman, it stuck, and I used it for until now. I'm still being called George. So
By George.
Did it help na nakatulong sa'yo na especially nung courtside reporter ka na, being around a male-dominated na liga like the UAAP?
Sure, sometimes,
Malaking tulong ba sa'yo yun?
Yeah, nakatulong din naman. And sometimes the funny thing is, kunyari, my name would be on a list for courtside reporter, and somebody would say, "Ba't lalaki yung courtside reporter natin? Ba't hindi babae?" or something like that. And then I'll show up and I'm like, "Hello, I'm definitely a girl." But it does I guess maybe it made them more comfortable somewhat, or something like that. And I hope it helped, because I like my name.
Sino ba yung mga kabatchmates mo na before, George, na mga
Yan.
courtside report sa UAA?
Courtside reporter, kasama ko si PR Canghel, who is a news reporter now, and sa Ateneo side, si Patty Laurel was also my batchmate because I did it for 2 years. And so sila yung talagang ka-close ko. Actually, Patty until now is really a good friend of mine. And the thing is, I think naging close kami because pag Lasal or Ateneo game at the time, in the UAAP, pag Ateneo or Lasal game, most likely may air siya. And if it's an Ateneo game, most likely may air siya. So magkasama kami, either ako yung first game, sila yung second game, or magkasama kami sa games against each other. So we had a lot of time to hang out, and that's really the school na talagang naging close between the two of us. And then if not Ateneo, it would be UST or something like, or one of those top schools in the UAAP finals at that time, or FEU even. So kaya kami that's why our friendship became closer, because palagi kaming magkasama either in Araneta or Ninoy Aquino or something like that. So yeah, they were my batchmates.
Sila Riza, nag-abot pa ba kayo? Hindi na.
Oh my gosh, no. Nag-abot ba tayo? Hindi.
Hindi.
Riza
Pero
is so young.
No, hindi. A little after you lang ako.
Anong year ka ba? Kasi ako,
I'm not sure.
Nagkabukuhan na.
It will reveal eh. Sige, alam mo kasi, pag ginugol mo yung pangalan ko, lalabas ng 27 lang ako, mga ganyan. So sabi ko talaga, huwag kayo naniniwala sa lahat na nababasa niyo sa internet.
Pwede pala yun, ha?
Kasi napagtagpitan ng mga tao na parang, teka, nung nagre-report siya, yung mga player noon, nagre-retire na ngayon, ha? So parang hindi yata natutugma yung mga numbers. But anyway, hindi kami nag-abot. I'm not sure, because after you, George, sino nang naging reporter? Para
after me, there was Mickey. There
Mickey
was
Deles?
Agnes. Yeah, Mickey Deles, Agnes. and Sharon.
Sharon. Okay, I'm
Yan.
Sharon's batch.
Oh,
Ayun na.
okay. Wow, okay. Very young. So yeah. So Sharon, I met pa, and so I was still in TV at the time, somewhere in sports still when they were on. And then, but after that, gosh, wala na akong maalala.
Ay, singit ko na lang din, Jerry.
Sige.
Yung mga players around that time mo, sinong mga players ng Lasal nun?
Oh gosh. You know what?
Yan.
I honestly think that I was so lucky to be the courtside reporter of LaSalle during that time because it was really a golden era of LaSalle. Our coach was Coach Franz. Our players
Coach
were
Franz.
Ren Ritualo, Joseph Yo, goodness, Mike Cortez,
Yan.
Mac Cardona,
Adonis Santa
Carlos
Maria.
Sharma.
Adonis, Sharma, Willie Wilson, like all of these names who went on to become professionals. And that team, I honestly think is easily one of the best teams in the history of LaSalle, including the coach. So yeah, I'm so lucky to be part of that because I always joke around with the guys na parang if you guys didn't win the championship, I probably wouldn't have a career really. So I mean, di ba? Kasi kung hindi sila nanalo, di ba? Who's gonna be watching us? But yeah, that was such a great team. Makuan even was there, and so many other names that made such a solid championship 4-peat team.
One more last question before I turn it to Abak. George,
Sabi sa'yo, George, crush ka yan. Ang daming tanong eh.
Hindi, ano lang nabago sa buhay mo yung dun sa pagiging courtside reporter?
Anong nagbago? Gosh, you know, when I got into college, I thought college life would be normal, di ba? 4 years doing a course, thesis, ganyan, tapos na, and then on to working. But because of this opportunity to be a UAAP courtside reporter, it really changed. Like, it was such a fun and privileged college experience for me. And then eventually, it just set a path for me to stay in sports for several years. And I met so many people along the way who really helped me with my career. And I was able to experience pretty much at that time all the basketball leagues. I think nasali ako ata kasi from the UAAP I went to the PBL, and then from the PBL I did the NBA, which was really my goal. I really wanted to be part of the NBA family. And then the PBA and all these other, even the smaller leagues. I used to join NBL. Oh gosh, there were so many leagues at that time. And talagang, I will do it. Whatever league, kahit saan, you know, kahit nasa probinsya kami, whichever probinsya na walang signal or whatever, I'll go because I really love the job. And I was doing that for several years, and it really changed what I thought would be a normal college experience, and it was just a lot of fun. When I think about it now, syempre, it's been 20 years or so, and when I think about it, parang shucks, ang saya nun ah. So yeah, it really changed my life, and it introduced me to a lot of different sports. I got into Philippine disc, frisbee, and that's where I met my husband. And so yeah, that's a life-changing thing, right?
Okay, good to hear that, George. There's Abak for more questions.
Okay, sure.
Hi, George.
Hi.
George and Georgina. Well, I have a very close friend named George, and her
Really?
sister's name is Georgina. So anyway, if it was 20 years ago, that was the time I was also covering the UAAP, and I can only imagine the excitement among you courtside reporters. Alam mo naman, especially if it's Ateneo versus LaSalle, everybody wants to be there to get in, di ba? And you are there right in the middle of it all, di ba? So, and sa campus, did you ever feel na you have become perhaps as popular or even more popular than the other players?
Um, y- yeah. I mean, LaSalle is not a very big
Mm-hmm.
community. And I did enjoy a lot of the perks that the players did without having
Yes.
to play a game. So it was one of those perks was, yeah, being popular in school, people knowing who I was. And that's what made college life, a lot more interesting. And I also got to like be invited to victory parties, dinners, whatever of the team. Now, even if I'm
Mm-hmm.
not naman a player, the alumni of LaSalle really welcomed me into their group, and they all took care of me. It was really very nice. The support that the alumni give to the team is so warm and so generous. And so I also kind of became part of that family. And so yeah, it changed in that way. And among the students in LaSalle, of course at the time, syempre humble pa, di ba? Na parang, no,
It's
I'm not
okay.
I'm not popular, right? Or anything. But then, syempre now, I'm older and I think about it. Yeah, shucks, man. It was a lot of fun. People would
Mm-hmm.
get my picture or ask for an
Oh.
autograph, which is like
Yeah.
something that
Mhm.
I never thought would ever happen. I mean, I wasn't a player, I wasn't the coach, so it
Mm-hmm.
was. So those things are fun, and the funny thing is when there was somebody who asked for my autograph the first time, and he wasn't from LaSalle, he was from Ateneo. I was doing a game in the Blue Eagle gym, and it was finished. The game was finished. I was walking out with my sister. We were already gonna get picked up by my dad, and another student came up, and he was from Ateneo. He introduced himself and he asked for my autograph, and I'm like, oh my gosh, I'm so excited! Somebody asked for my autograph. So I actually took a picture with him using my camera. I said I have to remember this moment, and I have a picture of this guy in my box of memories, right? And I was so excited and so thrilled that someone asked me for my autograph. And that was the first. I mean, there were a few others after, but really, I cannot forget the first one because I took a picture with him. Parang ako yung na-starstruck sa kanya na parang, oh, thank you so much for asking for my autograph. So yeah, syempre that time, wala pang mga selfie noon, walang mga, I don't know what they do now, but it was really an autograph in his notebook for school. So that was really sweet. So those things are really very memorable for me when it comes to remembering my college life at the time that I was a courtside reporter.
Of course. And wala pa yatang Instagram at that time, ano?
Wala.
Wala.
If
Zero.
Wala pa.
Zero social media.
Instagram
You know what was
were around, si siguro must have had. Okay, George.
Oh, I was about to say the only thing that was available at the time that's close to social media was pinoyexchange.com, and it's all just forums and chat rooms. So that was
Which we were not advised to read.
yeah, nobody told me not to read it because it was the first time. So I read whatever. Oh my goodness, it
Yeah,
was
I read text
horrible.
too.
It was really horrible. It's like worse than I think it was worse because you kind of the people who would write stuff there are really anonymous, and they would
Mm.
write whatever they wanted. So it was, yeah, that was it. Pinoy
Fri-
Exchange.
Friendster pa yata nun, which didn't last.
Wala.
Anyway,
Before
George,
Wala.
pa, yan.
George, if you will be giving out one bit of an advice to the new of courts, what would it be?
My number one advice is to really get the job done properly. Like really focus on the work that needs to be done. Everything else is kind of just on the side, and the popularity and the opportunities to watch games for free. These are just perks of the job. The job itself is
Mm.
really to be a reporter, even if you're just a student reporter, ikaw pa rin yung reporter and ikaw pa rin yung, yung sa harap ng camera, and there is a job that needs to be done, and it needs to be taken seriously, because the back in the day, in my time, we were really expected to do X amount of reports, talk to the team, do interviews, do reports, all of these things that a sportscaster or a courtside reporter is expected to do. And these days in the UAAP, it's a little bit different now. It's not the same as before. And I'm not sure why that happened. Maybe the job kind of changed over time because of social media and all of this stuff. But whatever the job is at that time expected of you, whether you're a newbie or you've been there for a while, or if you're a student or you're no longer a student, it's really, you have to concentrate on the job, because people will see if you're good or not, whether there's social media or not. They will know if you're faking it. And you can't get away with a lot of things if you're a courtside reporter, because you're also under a microscope somehow. Maybe not as much as somebody else who is on TV more, but yeah, be professional. That's the number one thing.
Okay. Sana the next time they do a UAP Classic of like the 20 years ago na mga teams, they can have Georgina or George as the courtside reporter. Thank you, George.
Yeah,
Very
they are
interesting
showing
discussion.
those. Thank you
Yeah,
so
they're
much.
showing it now on the UAAP Varsity channel. Imagine, now
Yes.
there's a designated channel in Signal na talagang pang
Awesome.
UAAP lang. So while everyone is waiting for the UAAP to start, they're showing the classic games. And hindi ko sure kung matutuwa ako na pinapakita nila yung mga napakaluma na mga laro.
I know how you feel.
But it's such a trip down memory lane to see again, how the UAP was before and now. I'll have to ask George, because as a UAP courtside reporter, I experienced this for myself. What she was saying, it's not all the glamour. Oo, medyo parang may pagka-celebrity yung reporter, kasi imagine mo naman, out of maybe hundreds of
Correct.
girls or of students also wanting that spot, ikaw yung napili, and it's also a lot of responsibility, and in my terms, it's not all the glamour. Hindi rin madali ang trabaho ng reporter.
Sure.
George, ang daming nag-aspire to be a reporter right now, and what were your takeaways? I know Jerry already asked how life changed, for you. But would you say, because naging courtside reporter ka, were you better at dealing, let's say, with time pressure? Kasi kailangan mabilis kang, 'di ba, mabilis ka makapag-formulate ng report. Were you better at focusing? Kasi ako naman noon, ang hirap dahil as a basketball fan also, sometimes you lose focus kasi nanonood ka ng laro and then kailangan mo rin magtrabaho at the same time. What were the qualities that you developed more after being a reporter?
Oh gosh, just being comfortable on the camera, number one. It's not something that came naturally. I had some practice with like home videos, but not really like being on national television. So that was a huge thing that I needed to get used to. Um, they say pretend that you're talking to a group of naked people. I don't know if that works for anyone really. It don't work for me. I don't know how I got comfortable, but that's the number one thing. And also the hyper focus, definitely. Making sure that you have everything that's important in your report, and being able to hear things even if the venue is so noisy, like being able to pick up whatever the coach is saying or whatever the assistant coach is saying or the players are saying, and having to be able to pick up the stuff, the words that are coming out. You know how it is in a game. It's
Yeah.
so noisy, right? So it's and dealing with so many different coaching styles and figuring out how to report about, let's say, a coach who doesn't really use a lot of words. Those things. It's a lot of. I think the number one thing for me is really dealing with a lot of different situations and people that the different personalities and the different situations that we had to be put in to be able to stay professional and still do the job, and that's the number one thing.
Yeah, and look at you now, and you have maintained that kind of energy that you would put out there. Kasi again, pinapanood kita, and I was auditioning for for courtside reporter, and yan yung mga naging pamantayan, the barometer of how reporters are gonna be. Just to name a few, sino ba yung mga reporter din na worth mentioning? Kasi ang dami-dami natin na UAAP graduate, who's gone to different careers, but still, whatever they chose to do, they're very, how would I say, they have an impact on their chosen career. You're one, Patty Laurel, definitely. On the top of my head, mine, Kathy Untalan. Aaron Atayde is in my batch. Imagine.
Right?
Leah Cruz.
Leah, right.
Gretchen Pulido, Jerry.
Yeah, Gretchen. I mean, it's awesome. It's an awesome roster, really. The student reporters from the UAAP. It's really a great place to learn so much. And I think these reporters that you mentioned are the types that know how to be professional and really understand the job and the what is needed for the job. And if without that kind of standard on themselves, I don't think they would have gotten this far. I mean, they're really awesome. They're if you look back, who's the best? Those are the names that come up. I mean, look at Aaron now. He's in the States.
ESPN.
So, yeah, correct.
Yeah.
I mean, amazing.
Yeah, ang dami eventually naging radio DJs, naging newscasters, or they are, again, whatever field they chose to be in, they're very successful, and I'm sure a lot of them would agree in saying na yung naging experience nila being a reporter really honed them, yung skills na meron sila.
You know what? Sorry.
Go ahead. Go ahead.
You know what's funny? I'm not in TV anymore, and I'm not a courtside reporter at all. But now I have my own business, and I've become a business person instead of someone on TV. And the funny thing is, the things that I learned as a reporter and as someone who worked in television for a while, I see it kind of coming up in the work that I do. Right now, I'm in the food business, and it's not as glitzy, behind the scenes of a business, but I do see myself using how I learned to communicate and how I learned to market things and how I learned to just bring the message across, especially in my business and communicating with customers. So I feel that, and also the rush of being on camera. I kind of feel it still in the things that I do today, like as a business person and selling things and fulfilling deals and things like that. So it doesn't just, the things that I learned from there doesn't just stay there. It really stuck to me until now.
Nice. I wish we have like an hour full kasi hindi matatapos itong kwentuhan na to, and it's just so nostalgic. And before we finally let you go, perhaps your last tip and invitation also to all of these young aspiring sportscasters who are looking to join the UAAP courtside auditions, kasi nagsisimula na yung pagtanggap ng mga resumes for the ones that are hoping to become a reporter.
Yeah, you know what? If you're much younger, not yet at the age of being a courtside reporter, if you're not yet in, but you want to do it, start early, like practice early. The funny thing is, I had no idea, that I was going to be on TV. But at the age of like 12 or even 11, I used to record myself on a cassette tape and just read stories. I don't know why. I just did it. And so the practice really starts early. I don't know what it was for. I just liked it. And then, yeah, so if you have that dream of being here in sports, start early. Like, do your research early. Get into sports, the technical stuff early. And if you're already at that age where you're qualified, just keep honing your talent. Talk to yourself on the mirror and practice practice your stuff. Watch a lot of games and listen to all of these people talking on air, and you'll be able to pick up so much. So yeah, and just stay on the course and then wait for your break. It's a very exciting place to be. So if anybody comes, when people come up to me and say, oh, I want to do this, I want to do what you did before, I'd be so encouraging, because it's really an awesome job. It really is.
Right.
Yeah.
We are definitely lucky to be able to experience it. Kasi totoo sinasabi ni George. Ako naman nun, recording on via cassette, di ba yung
exactly.
Yung cassette, tatanggalin mo yung nasa dulo para makapag-record ka. Also, gamit ko yung brush. Feeling reporter na ako nun sa salamin. But who knew? It was the start, of something wonderful for us.
Yeah.
Now, with that being said, we're inviting everyone. The UAP Varsity channel is showing a lot of the UAAP classics as we, of course, wait for the start of the new UAAP season na malapit na magsimula. They're looking for reporters. So go for it. If you are, like what George said, wanting to become a sportscaster, ito na yung pagkakataon ninyo. Wala namang mawawala if you audition. All you need to do is, of course, submit your resume, and then later on, sasabihin ko pa kung ano pa yung mga detalye. But George, thank you. Kasi
Thank you.
I know this was a very short notice.
I know. It's all right, because I just got out of isolation, actually. So sakto yung timing. Today was my first day out. I'm like, welcome to the world.
And thank you for accommodating us on a very short notice. Noel Zarate, shout out, kasi siya rin yung tinawagan ko to call George. Thank you, George. Do you want to greet anybody or invite people?
Yeah, I'd like to say hi to my husband and my kids. Gilson is my husband, and my kids Ada, Gray, and Erin. And I just want to invite everyone, if I can plug my business. I'm on Instagram. Please look for Snackalubong. I have freshly made hopia, piyaya, and buchi.
Wow.
Those are like
Baka naman.
I'll send you some for sure. Thank you so much
Hindi kami naniniwala.
You'll believe. Promise. I'll send some over. Snackalubong on Instagram. Thank you so much.
Thank you, George Rocha. And again, we hope to have you back on the show, Hindi to ang first and last. So next time, magkwentuhan tayo ulit. Maybe we can have your husband, Dale, also come and join the interview. Dahil sports-related din naman pala siya. You met through this. So that should be fun.
Yeah, it should be fun. But he's more of the quiet type. So exact opposite, really.
All right. George, thank you. And stay safe. Regards to your beautiful children.
Thank you so much. Thank you. Stay safe, guys.
George.
Okay, bye.
Thank you, George.
That's George Rocha Chu, again, the very first UAAP student reporter for the DLSU Green Archers. Saya, no? Saya kakwentuhan. And we hope we had more time. Pero, marami pa kasi tayong bisita at marami pa tayong pagkukwentuhan. Kaya, wag po kayong aalis. We'll take a short break. We're coming back for more. Don't go away. Stay with us! Diyan lamang po kayo.
Our hearts go out to the families affected by Typhoon Odette.
Hindi po biro ang naging hagupit ng bagyo sa ating mga kababayan.
po ay nagdarasal sa ating Panginoong Diyos na gabayan ang mga biktima ng Bagyong Odette.
Ano mang hamon ng mundo, magkasama tayo, itutuloy ang Pasko. Wala nang regalo, ang hiling ko, sana'y laging masaya tayo. Nandito tayong dumaramay, handang tumulong at magbigay upang bumuti, sumayang ating buhay. Nandiyan ang abot kamay, tayo'y maging liwanag ng Pasko. Tulong-tulong tayo, tayo'y liwanag, ikaw at ako.
Thank you for supporting our efforts to rebuild communities that need it most.
Tayo'y maging liwanag ng Pasko. Tulong-tulong tayo, tayo'y liwanag, ikaw at ako.
Hindi tayo nagpapatalo mga Pinoy. Ika nga, walang tatalo sa Pinoy pag puso ang lugar.
Tuloy pa rin ang Pasko ng Pinoy kahit ano pa mang pasakit sa ating bumalaki. Pag-ibig sa ating puso ay mamamalagi na para bang ngiti dito sa ating labi. Basta ating mga puso ay magkakaritmo, magkasalot, magkaramayan lang ang hiling ko. Asahan mong tuloy pa rin ang Pasko, maligayang bayanihan Pilipino. Woo!
Ito ang tunay na bayanihang Pilipino. May God bless everyone at sana po nasa mabuting kalagayan tayo lahat.
Sarili alagaan, kapwa itulungan, may magsasaluhan. Ito na yung
tuloy pa rin ang Pasko ng Pinoy kahit ano pa may pasakit sa ating pumalaki. Pag-ibig sa ating puso ay mamamalagi na para pangiti dito sa ating labi. Basta ating mga puso ay magkakaritmo, magkasaling mag-aramayan lang ang huling ko. Asahan mong tuloy pa rin ang Pasko, maligayang bayanihan Pilipino.
May masihigit pa ba sa saya at tuwa na nadarama ng ating mga puso sa tuwing tayo ay nakakatulong sa ating kapwa?
Tuloy pa rin ang Pasko, asahan mo tuloy pa rin ang Pasko, maligayang bayanihan Pilipino.
welcome back to the Chasedown. We just had like an awesome interview with George Rocha, who happens to be the very first UAAP student courtside reporter for DLSU. And as promised, dun sa mga nagtatanong, sa mga nangangarap, katulad ko before, na maging isang UAAP courtside reporter, paano ba makakapag-audition? Well guys, super dali. First and foremost, ang kailangan nyo lang gawin is to put together put together a resume and of course a video, a 90-second video of why you would want to be a courtside reporter. And kailangan yung view daw is headshot. So ito. And send that to uaap@signaltv.com.ph. Again, if you have that stamina to be trained, to be a fast thinker in pressure-packed situations, and you're good at writing and speaking, you're eloquent, then you might be the next courtside reporter for one of the schools in the UAP. Again, pwede nyo ipadala yung mga resume ninyo to uaap@signaltv.com.ph or go ahead and visit UAAP Varsity channel on Instagram. Pwede kayong makakuha ng information dyan. Okay? Masaya, no? Parang napakagandang throwback kasama si George Rocha. But now, we have some more news before we bring in another beautiful guest of ours. Very quick lang. The Japan B-League All-Star, again, has been canceled. And I believe this is the second time in a row na na-cancel itong All-Star. It would have been so nice kasi ang dami sa mga kababayan natin that are playing in the B-League are participating sana in this All-Star na dapat gaganapin noong January or kahapon, January 14 to 15 at the Okinawa arena. But again, unfortunately, because of the rising COVID-19 cases in Japan, the Japan B-League has decided to cancel the All-Star activities. Headlining sana for the All-Star are our kababayans, the brothers Kiefer and 3D Ravenna would have been part of it. Dwight Ramos would have been part of the All-Star. Ganun na rin sina Kobe Paras, Ray Parks, Padida Deliano brothers would have been part of it. Even K. Mark Carino was going to be part of the Japan B-League All-Star. But safety first. So, sayang. Nevertheless, at least safe silang lahat. Okay, now, from Japan B-League, punta naman tayo sa isa pa nating topic, which was just earlier today, about the NBA. Si Waylon will talk to us about that Grizzlies game.
Yes, oo nga, no? Itong Memphis Grizzlies, sayang. Olats kanina. Although yung kanilang 11-game win streak, franchise record na, history na sa kanilang organization. After silang talunin recently yung Minnesota Timberwolves, 116-108. During their win streak na 11, tinalo nila yung mga teams na sabi niya angat sa 500. Kagaya ng Phoenix Suns, Brooklyn Nets, Golden State Warriors, LA Lakers, Cleveland Cavaliers at Los Angeles Clippers. Kaso nga, kanina, olats ang Memphis Grizzlies. Naku, sino yung mga fans dyan ni Ja Morant? Kanina, talo sila sa Dallas Mavericks, 112-85. Nanguna si Papa Luka Doncic with 27 points para sa Mavericks. Samantalang si Ja Morant naman, he only scored 19 points for the Grizzlies. Sayang, pero sabi nga, hindi lahat ng bagay sayang. Natawa tuloy ako sa sayang mo. Sige na. Riza, back to you. Baka may maalala pa kaming sayang ni Ava at Jerry.
Oo, nako. Ito, wag natin sayangin ang pagkakataon because she's ready to join us. And she's got to be one of my personal favorites when it comes to Philippine volleyball. I would remember her, of course, mostly back in her days playing for the UAAP, for the Ateneo Lady Eagles, and now she's turned professional and she's making a comeback after being away from indoor volleyball. She is now the newest member of F2 Logistics Cargo Movers. Let's bring into the Chasedown for the first time, if I'm not mistaken. Dzi Gervacio is joining us. Hi Dzi.
Hi guys! Hi Riza! Hi
Ayun.
everybody! It's good joining you guys here. Super, throwback. Naalala ko yung itsura natin nung courtside ka for us. And then it was
Wow.
WTP. Oh my goodness!
Yeah. Little throwback around that time when Z was playing for Ateneo, same batch to with, tama ba Z, sina Phil? Sina Phil, Gretchen was there. And then for Lasal, sina Ila Santos, nandyan. Sa FEU, Rachel Dakis was playing for FEU. Around, and then si Balse for UST. Yan yung mga naalala kong nako-cover ko na yun. We were still playing at Ateneo Gym. And to be honest, around that time, hindi pa ganun kadami yung nanonood sa atin. Minsan San Juan Arena, but look at volleyball now, how it's grown. 'Di ba? Ang saya balikan. But how are you? Thank you for joining us. Kahit mukhang busy ka, you're inside a vehicle.
Yeah, I was telling Mike na, hey, I might be in my car, just to be clear. Is that okay with you? That's okay with me. I just want to get the interview done and share with you my story.
But thank you for joining us, and I hope you're safe and well, and so is your family. Kasi alam naman natin, grabe yung cases ngayon. But our Ka-Chasers have questions for you. Unahin ko na si Waylon. Waylon, go ahead. Ask your questions for Z.
Hi, Z. How are you?
I'm good.
Z, update mo lang kami. Eto, balik ka sa indoor volleyball. Paano yung naging transition mo? Preparation, lalo na ito professional team. How was it?
Well, last year, I focused on beach volleyball more, and right now the goal mainly is for growth. And they say, diba, you gotta push yourself to go outside your comfort zone, and playing under Coach Ramil, under a team whose core is mostly LaSalle players. I think that's the most uncomfortable zone that I can be in. So that's pretty interesting when I heard also that they're interested in getting me to be part of their team. So far right now, since the COVID-19 cases are rising, we're just sticking to conditioning muna, which is good also because everybody's just got back from the holidays. So alam naman natin, sobrang matindi magpa-training si Coach Ramil, and it's good for everybody. So I'm pretty excited to see everybody on the hard court again.
When was the last IG na nag-compete ka sa beach volleyball? Pero alam naman natin kasi pag beach volleyball, mahirap din because yun na nga, kasi sa sand na mahirap din naman kumilos, mahirap maglaro.
Correct. Our last tournament was in the last week of October 2021. You're right. I think kanya-kanyang hirap din yan sa beach volleyball, sa buhangin, so mabigat gumalaw, dalawa lang kayo. But I always believe na it's always good to play beach and then get what you learn from it and bring it to indoor. Sa indoor naman, kahit hardcore, kahit mas madaling kumilos, mas mabibilis na naman yung place as compared to beach.
Yung mga ibang Ka-Chasers natin, may mga tanong sa yan. Yan, tumatango-tango pa, si Aba Cordero.
Hi Z, I remember Z appearing sa PSA forum, Jerry, in before the pandemic. Yes. Anyway, Z, is there any difference, or how different is it training for beach volleyball and training for indoor volleyball? I mean, volleyball is indoor, so training for beach volleyball and volleyball.
It's I always think that it's two different sports, although na it's same na volleyball. Definitely two different disciplines. For beach, it's outdoor. You gotta consider the outdoor factors, yung araw, yung hangin, minsan yung ulan, and then also the unevenness of the sand. And then with beach naman, you always have to make sure you're communicating with your partner. With indoor naman, you got 5 other people playing inside the court with you. It's more of like pwesto-pwesto as compared to like beach na kailangan it's more of binabasa mo yung galaw, yung you anticipate yung yung kalaban mo.
Mm-hmm. And Z, I'm sure you're in touch with your fellow players, ano? Ano bang common sentiment nila na medyo ang tagal na naman, stalled na naman yung their game to resume? Anong nila? Ano sinasabi nila? Or ikaw, what are your own thoughts on this?
Of course, as much as we want for the tournament to start, for trainings to start, we would always syempre err on the side of caution naman. We can't naman be too insensitive of what's going on around us. And it's for our sake din naman to keep us safe and to keep the people we live with safe also. So, yun nga, para sabi namin, oh my gosh, look at the PBA. They were already having live fans, live audience during their tournament. And then now, biglang, boom, Omicron. Tapos biglang, boom, super surge na naman. So, I think in the past year naman, I think the teams have already gotten used to the wild cards of the whole pandemic and understand the whole situation. So, we're very understanding naman kasi at the end of the day, it's the health, it's the safety. And alam naman natin as athletes, as people in the sports industry, health is number one, health is priority. So, as much as we want to start training na and see everybody, see the team, we always just stay prepared na lang. Like yun, make sure we watch what we eat or what we do during our free time and as much as possible, get into our training program.
Okay, thanks, Z. I'm sure we or even the fans can't wait to see you back on the hard court. Thank you, Z.
Thank you.
Okay, Jerry has more questions. Go, Jerry.
Easy questions lang, ha?
Yeah, ito easy lang, easy. Z, bakit Z ang pangalan mo ba? Bakit yan ang naging
counted ba yan?
Pangalan naman.
Question na ba yan?
Serious question?
Yeah,
it's Z because it's really silly. When I was in grade 5, that's when I started joining the volleyball team in our school, the varsity team. And then meron akong katukayo, kapangalan na nickname, who's already part of the team longer than I've been. And then apparently when I introduced myself, I said my name was Angeline. Kaartehan. And then they were like, okay, let me call you Z. Yun yung sabi nung team captain nun. I was like, okay, that sounds like a pretty cool name. So let me stick with it.
Talaga? Wow.
Ganda.
Hanggang ngayon.
Two more questions.
Ito Z, medyo naninibago ako kasi ikaw napapanood kita interviewing mga sports personalities sa The Game, no? With Paulo Del Rosario. So, how is it na yung mag-transform or mag-shift from a player to a broadcaster?
I think one huge thing also is one thing that helped me was getting used to being interviewed also. Na parang I learned like what the people would want to hear from the athletes. So parang I would just put myself in the situation and one of my mentors would always remind me, which stuck to me the most is parang okay, pretend like kunwari ikaw hindi ka volleyball fan, how can you interpret what's happening or how can you make sure this person who's not a volleyball fan like understand the game, understand what's happening, parang appreciate the sport like a true fan. So parang ganun, parang binibenta ko yung sport na okay, mahalin niyo yung volleyball. This is a great sport. This is very cool. Like try to like learn it, and then once you understand it, parang the more that you get into the stories of the people inside the sports.
Okay. Thank you, G. Puro easy questions lang yan, ha?
May isa pa.
Back to you, Riza na.
Ay, nako. Kasi naman, sayang, we're almost running out of time. But now that the volleyball season, they're hoping to start. I heard an interview of Sir Ricky Palou. You might start by February should the infections go lower. pwedeng bubble setup daw, di ba? In, I think, Tagaytay or Batangas. We were talking about this earlier, and it was a long time ago when you got injured, and I saw you rehabilitating and training back. I remember nakita tayo sa Focus noon, and you were trying to get back to shape. Now, how are you feeling? Kasi tulad na nabanggit mo, sometimes, training is on and off. You're going from indoor or outdoor to indoor. How ready are you for the return of volleyball come, let's say, February?
Oh, yeah. Well, nakakagulat na parang, oh my goodness, February na. But as much as possible, I stay ready naman. I try to mix it up with practice. I try to go beyond what's asked. Kasi nga, again, it's a for me personally, it's a transition from beach to indoor volleyball. Yung volume of jumps, iba, yung surface, iba, yung mechanics, yung biomechanics, iba. So I knew that I needed to get used to the hard surface again. Kasi again, yun nga, we've seen it back in 2020 and 2021. Once na matagal na lay off yung mga athletes natin and they got back to super intense, high level of play, tendency is you get injured. But I know and I trust naman my coaches, the PTs, the SNCs, and yeah, it's all about teamwork from here on.
Yeah. And you're so active. I see you also free diving. May singit ko na lang. Gano'ng kalalim itong mga... I wanted to free dive also in Mabini, Batangas.
You should, yes.
Before the pandemic started, pero parang ayaw yata kong papuntahin. Sumapog yung vulkan. Alam mo yung literal na this weekend, I was gonna go to Batangas and do free diving. Sumabog yung Taal. Tapos, yung medyo okay na yung Taal, nag-lockdown naman. So sayang yung mga swimsuit na pinagbibili ko for free diving. But you're doing so well. Ilang feet under na yung kaya mo? Like how deep is that now?
I think
underwater.
The last time that we went to Anilao also, I think that was 7.5 meters. So that's pretty cool. Natsempohan lang din na medyo mas maluwag, di ba, at tail end of the last year. And it was actually my brother who wanted to start free diving. And I was in a bubble pa nun in beach volleyball. So when I went home, they were like, okay, let's go to Anila. Because I'm like, okay, let me try this. Because I've always wanted to do free diving also, but didn't have the time because, it's always training the whole year round. So it was a good opportunity to hang out with my family and learn a new sport.
Aliw. And just for the information of everyone, free diving, again, wala tong oxygen tank. You're just diving.
Hold your breath.
Yeah.
It's cool. It helps. I think for me, it helps with with the mental toughness inside the court. Kasi parang it's very zen. Basically, for me, the way I see it, you need to learn how to calm down your mind and your body and just focus on one thing. And it's I think by this time, ang dami na nating nabasang mga libro about it because of the pandemic. And for me, it's a solid application to volleyball.
Well, we hope to have you again next time. Maybe we could talk about free diving. I know other athletes, other volleyball players are also doing it. Rachel Yata has been free diving also. So that should be a fun conversation. Invite mo the volleyball fans to stay tuned and support you, lalong-lalo na F2.
Yes, shout out to all the volleyball fans and all the volleyball fans to be. Watch out for the upcoming season of the Premier Volleyball League. Support my team, my new team, the F2 Logistics Cargo Movers. Will be wearing yellow, black, and red, so you won't miss it.
And we are so excited to have you guys back on the court. Can't wait, and stay safe. Angeline, para soon enough, hopeful kami na when the cases go down, we could come and visit the games live and cover and catch up.
Yes, oh my goodness, yes, I can't wait to see you guys.
Okay,
Salamat.
Thank you and say hi to everyone for us.
Yes,
Salamat.
Thank you, baby.
Thank you!
Mama Riza!
Thank you! Salamat! We'll talk to you again next time. Salamat. That's Dzi Gervacio of the F2 Cargo Logistics Cargo Movers. Always she's like a ray of sunshine. You know, pagkausap mo siya, very happy lang lagi ang energy, good vibes from Dzi Gervacio. And again, ang tabayanan po natin ang pagbabalik syempre ng volleyball dito lang sa Signal. Now, we're moving on to our next guest kasi sayang oras natin dahil ang dami talaga nating bisita. We are now ready to talk PBA naman and basketball again with one of our favorites. And we're so happy na he's always accommodating to our call, him and his family. Sobrang bait sa atin. Let's have from the NLEX Road Warriors, Kevin Alas is joining us on the show. Hi, Kevin!
Idol!
Hi, good afternoon. Good afternoon, Riza. Good afternoon, Abak. Waylon, tsaka Sir Jerry. Magandang hapon sa inyo.
Yan. Kevin, thank you ha. Kasi again, biglang invitation. Alam ko busy ka, but you're spending time with us. Maraming salamat. Where's Pipito? Where's Selena?
Yan, si Pipito.
Nasa taas sila si Selena nag-workout, si Pipito natutulog.
Okay. For those na nagtatanong, parang si Dzi Gervacio to, meron silang, pareho kayo ng breed ba ng aso?
Sorry, Riza.
I'm not sure if you, Dzi Gervacio, and you have the same breed. Ano bang breed ni Pepito?
Ayun sa amin, Pug eh. I don't know kung ano yung dog ni Zia eh.
Pero yeah, cute pareho. Anyway, okay, let's talk about Kevin. This free agency thing, in the PBA, bagong-bago siya for all of us, fans and players. Kasi lately lang naman naging adjustment ito ng PBA. Our ka-chasers would have questions for you. Simulan ko na with Jerry Ramos. Jerry, go ahead.
Yes. Hi, Kev. Happy New Year.
Happy New Year, Sir Jerry.
Yes. Alam naman natin, isa ka sa members nung batch 2014 na rookies. And eto na, sa inyo magsisimula yung unrestricted free agency ng PBA starting this year. Of course, ikaw, alam naman natin, nakapirma ka na with NLEX before, di ba? So, kumbaga, nauna na talaga yung NLEX na papirmahin ka. Pero ikaw personally, what's your take regarding this unrestricted free agency ng PBA?
Ako, I guess it has its advantages at disadvantages. Siguro sa advantages, siguro for the players, it's gonna be good for the players kasi syempre, they're gonna have the freedom of choice kung saan nila gusto maglaro. Maybe some teams pangarap makalaro for this team or for this team. So they have the choice na makapili kung saan nila gusto, and maybe some players there hindi masaya sa team nila or whatsoever. So yun na nga, meron na silang choice. And I think the disadvantage of this naman is siguro yung, for example, yung may mga teams na nasa bottom ng standings na, of course, they wanna build their future, pero yung player na to gusto pala lumipat sa team na malakas or mag-champion. Siyempre, nangyari naman kahit sa NBA yan eh. Kumbaga, the players team up in one team para maka-experience ng championship eh. So, I guess, for me, as a player, it's good for me and the players kasi yun na nga, makakapili kami. Pero of course, I feel for those teams na syempre may mga players na umalis sa kanila kasi syempre aalis yung mga players, mga key players din yun eh. Kasi makakatulong sa team nila yun eh.
And eto, didiretsuhin ko na, Kev. Once mag-expire pa yung contract mo sa NLEX, ano ba, i-ano mo rin yung i-exercise mo rin ba yung rights mo as a restricted free agent?
Siguro, kunyari, wala akong kontrata.
Nanonood yata si Boss Ronald.
Si Boss Ronald nanonood. Saka si Coaching.
But to be honest, siguro kung expiry yung kontrata ko ngayon, talagang NLEX pa rin yung number one priority ko kasi you guys know naman na dalawang beses ako na ACL and they naging patient yung NLEX management tsaka yung coaching staff sa akin eh. So I mean, I'm not sure kung may mga teams bang ganun na talagang, of course, some would say na baka wala na si Kevin, pwede na mag-retire yan or whatsoever. But NLEX talagang they trusted me, they waited for me. So I think napakabait ng management sa akin. So I mean, talagang kung ako tatanungin, I'll remain with NLEX. Kung bibigyan lang ako ng opportunity, of course, I wanna finish my career na sana here sa NLEX.
Boss Ronald, bigyan uli ng extension to.
Bigyan ng jacket.
Raynon, next question.
Inaantay ko mag-text si Boss Ronald baka sabihin, good answer. Good answer.
Baka busy.
Oo. Kev, eto naman, doon pa din sa doon pa din sa free agency, no. Yung batch niyo, you were the second overall pick of the 2014 batch. Meron Stanley Pringle, and then yung ibang players din, like yung batchmate mo si Rodney Brondial, Pinto, Nards Pinto, na nag-sign, in-exercise na nila, kumbaga. Yung mga players na they chose to sign to different teams, okay lang yun di ba? It's their choice. Baka gusto nila mag-champion, gusto nila mapunta sa magandang team, maski mababasa. No? Your take on that lang, yung mga mag-exercise siguro or nag-exercise.
Ako personally, I respect their decision kasi yun na nga, for Pinto, baka he feels na ang daming guards sa Meralco and he saw a better opportunity sa Ginebra, which is standing will be out for a long time. So, yun na nga, as I said, wala namang bina-violate na law or rules yung mga players na si Rodney tsaka si Pinto. Talagang they exercise their right kasi yun na nga, it's been a long time na since yun na nga, sabi niyo nga first batch ng unrestricted free agents sa PBA of course, I think pinag-aralan naman nila commissioner yan tsaka yung mga PBA Board of Governors natin and if may nakita naman siguro silang mali dito or something, I think they're gonna make something or babaguhin nila ulit yan But as far as I'm concerned, I think sa mga nag-exercise ng rights sila sa free agency, I think I respect their decision kasi yun na nga, it's within the rules and at the same time, baka they feel it's a better opportunity for them as a player And ang naman, basketball, hindi man panghabang buhay yan Siguro, pag nag-retire na sila, they don't wanna parang sana lumipat ako dito or sana I sign with this team. So, yeah, I respect the decision.
Pero tama ka, NLEX andyan si Boss Ronald natin Pero Kev, maiba lang, mailihis ko lang sa free agency. Prior to the, yung postponement ng games, NLEX has been doing well. Kausap ko nga si Coach Yen na medyo paangat talaga yung ganda ng start. Kaso biglang ito. Ano yung ginagawa nyo kayong players? Meron ba kayong mga pocket practices or workouts together? Meron na bang ganon or kanya-kanya muna?
Meron mga small group workouts kami. Pero bawal pa kasi yung mag 5-on-5 or contact. So, meron kaming once a week na RT-PCR swab test and then ngayon meron kaming antigen testing bago pumasok sa workout facility namin. So, yun, nakakapag-weights naman kami, nakakapag-workouts kami, nakakapag-conditioning kami. But of course, it's different na nakapag 5-on-5 kasi kami na full practice kasi syempre, parang hindi enough yung small group workouts But at the same time, naman, masaya naman kami na kahit paano nakakapag-workout kami kasi yun na nga, blessed naman kami nakakapaglaro kami. Of course, waiting lang kami kung kailan babalik yung PBA. And of course, importante pa rin yung health ng buong Pilipinas kasi as you can see naman, the past few days, ang tataas ng cases
Anyway, thanks, Kev. Si Abak, may question pa sa'yo, Kev. Kamusta mo kay Pepito,
Yes, idol.
Sige.
Oo. Ito si Kevin, pag nag-free agency ito, 2 team lang ang mag-uunahan. TNT tsaka Meralco. TNT tsaka Meralco. Anyway. Kevin, question ko lang, isa lang. Do you think itong pag-implement nitong free agency rule na to, may iwasan yung nangyayari lately na kahit may kontrata pa yung player openly liniligawan ng ibang agents o ibang teams, whether local agent or foreign agent or local team or foreign league. Hindi ba? Maiwasan kaya
parang
yan.
may kilala akong gano'n.
Wala naman. Wala man ako sinabi. Wala ko sinabi.
Si Kevin.
Mahirap na tanong, pero to be honest, it's an issue na parang di ko alam kung maiiwasan siya kasi yun na nga, but may nabasa ko sa an article sa Spin na yun na nga, parang there's a 1 million penalty sa mahuhuli sa tampering. Si Sir Jerry. So, the problem with there is parang ang hirap patunayan ng tampering eh.
Oh, hirap.
Yun yung mahirap patunayan yung kung tampering ba talaga kasi sa NBA, di ba, parang they became strict with it eh kasi yun na nga, mahirap naman talaga pigilan yan eh. But at the same time, of course I'm hoping na all teams would would follow these rules kasi yun na nga, of course as much as possible we want to have a league that's fair and abiding sa rules ng PBA. But as I've said, parang ang hirap patunayan ng niyan kahit gawin pa siguro natin 10 million yan, parang minsan baka may mahuli na dyan. Parang ang hirap pa rin patunayan kasi tampering, you can use your phone, you can call them. Parang parang di mo naman maheheram yung phone ng isang tao. Parang patingin nga, nag-tampering ba kayo? So, I think it's really hard to prove that here in the PBA.
Tama. Huwag na yung mahirap na coach. Tatanong, kamusta na lang kay Coach? Kamusta kay Coach Louie?
Yan.
Thank you, Kevin.
Coach Louie.
Coach Louie.
Well, thank you, Kevin, for sharing with us your time and your insights about this matter. We wish we had more time. Kasi dati, guest natin si Kevin, di ba, na studio tayo. It was, so much fun. So, sana kapag okay na ang
wala pong pandemic.
Lahat. Yes, pag hindi na mataas ang cases, we hope to have you and your beautiful family on the show again. May gusto ka bang batiin before we let you go? NLEX fans?
Of course, first, papasalamat ako sa NLEX fans at sa PBA. Siguro for now, let's just do our best to stay safe, wear our mask, social distancing, and Lord willing, makapag-simula na ulit PBA para maibalik natin entertainment para sa fans natin. And maraming salamat po, Sir Jerry, Sir Waylon, Sir Abak, and Riza for having me.
Yan.
Thank you, Idol.
Patikim naman ng ng masasarap na luto ni Selena kasi lagi na lang sa mga posts niya ni Kevin, pinagluluto siya ni Selena, hindi ko pa natikman kahit isa doon.
Ako yung Calderi coach.
Thank you. That's Kevin Alas sharing us again his insights about the free agency rule of the PBA. Now, as we are wrapping up the show, very quick, we want to dish you out these other sports news kasi napakarami pa nating sports balita. This is our Chasers Sports Blitz. Unahin ko na with the Olympic Winter Games that is scheduled to happen on February 4 to 20, and the good news is One Sports Plus will be the official broadcaster again of the Olympic Winter Games. Now, pakakaabangan din natin yan syempre. Ito rin, Hidilyn Diaz, isa sa mga bumandera na headlines, tested positive for COVID-19, and we're praying for the speedy recovery again of our golden girl. Also, Jack Animam, sumailalim sa isang surgery for her ACL, and we're praying also for the speedy recovery of Jack. Speaking of volleyball naman din kanina, patuloy pamamayagpag ng ating mga Filipino athletes abroad. Jao Umandal is playing for Bahrain as an import for one of their teams. So isa yan sa mga pinakaabangan din natin. Again, may it be basketball or volleyball, our Filipino athletes getting recognition, not only here in our country, but also abroad. Now also, something new to look out for in the upcoming volleyball season. George Pasqua is named as the new coach of the PLDT, Home Fiber High Speed Hitters. Nagbago na rin ang kanilang pangalan. So ang dami talagang nangyayaring bago when it comes to volleyball. At yan din ay mapapanood syempre dito sa Signal. And to wrap up our sports blitz, we would want to share our condolences to the family of former Lasal player Maui Roca, who passed away, if I'm not mistaken, yesterday. For those who remember Maui, he was part again of Lasal Green Archers. And also, napanood din natin siya in a gag show, yung Tropang Trumpo. And he brought, of course, a lot of good energy and laughter. Yeah, laughter to us. May it be, di ba, from that show. Or, of course, pinahanga rin niya tayo when he was playing for Lasal. So, our deepest condolences for his family. And with that being said, nagpapaalala po tayo sa ating mga ka-chasers na patuloy pong mag-ingat dahil again, napakataas po ng mga kaso ng COVID-19 sa ating bansa. Pag-ingatan po natin ang ating mga sarili, ganun na rin po ang ating mga pamilya. May mga gusto ba kayong batiin very quick before we say goodbye? Waylon, go ahead.
Waylon, go ahead. Blitz
please,
din, blitz.
Before ako bumati sa mga nag-birthday, of course, nakikiramay yung the Chasedown sa, of course, pagpanaw ng former president ng PSA and also editor-in-chief ng Journal Group of Publication, Mr. Gas Villanueva. So, nakikiramay kami sa family. Prayers for you guys. Dr. Mandy Villanueva. And sa mga babatian, eto na. Unang-una.
Yan na. Go!
Ma'am Ana Federigan, happy birthday! Happy birthday, Ma'am! Tawa ka. Aki Manalo, happy birthday! At eto, syempre, Boss Idol, Northport, Batang Pier, Eric Arreola, Boss Idol, happy birthday!
30 na daw siya.
Eto, idol ko din to, Tito Dennis Galvez King, happy birthday. Algie Kaiko, former Mapua Red Robin, happy birthday. And of course, eto, Jody Tan, ka-fencing ni Willa to, happy birthday. At Amo, Carlo Rodriguez, Batang Boya, happy birthday, pare. Please.
Yan. Abak, go ahead.
Yes, of course, madaming affected and suffering and those who have lost their loved ones. Ako, I want to condole with the family of my very old dear friend, Dzi Alfonso. Kaibigan ko yan sa West Triangle, a friend of almost 30, 40 years. Through thick and thin, rain or shine, high and low. Condolence to the Alfonso family, the Rualo family, and the Fernandez family. Dzi, rest in peace.
Jerry?
Ako, mga regular barkada natin. Gab Carreras, Julian Lapid, Dan Cordero, Alex Fuentes. Siyempre, ang NCAA Mancom, led by Peter Caico, Father Glynn, Father Vic, Attorney Kabotchan, Paul Supan, siyempre, Ruben Roque, Joey Romasanta, saka yung wisdom gum namin ni Abak, sila Neil King, Robert Evangelista, at lahat sa inyo dyan.
Engineer Lawrence.
Felix Lacson.
Engineer. And
Lawrence
advance happy birthday kay Alexana Patricia Federigan. 26 ka na, mag-asawa ka na.
Aba.
Thank you.
Uy, 26 na pala?
Nakikiramay din kami a few weeks ago or not long ago to the family of Coach Lawrence Chongson. Condolences also. He's a good friend of ours. I just bumped into him in the grocery and then next thing you know, those sad came about. So, napakalaking lesson ito para sa ating lahat to treat every day, with so much gratefulness dahil talagang, we are blessed to be alive in every single day, and each day is a blessing. With that, we want to thank you all for joining us this Saturday. Sana po nag-enjoy po kayo. Salamat sa ating mga naging bisita, Dzi Gervacio, Kevin Alas, and of course, George Rocha. Asahan niyo po, next week, marami pa tayong magiging kwentuhan. So, again, maraming salamat po for joining us this afternoon. In behalf of our ka-chasers, Aba Cordero, Waylon Galvez, Jerry Ramos, and the hardworking men and women of the Chasedown, ganun na rin ng PBA Rush. We thank you, and we hope to see you next week in another episode of the Chasedown. Salamat! See you next week! Ingat, guys! Stay safe!